11 minutes to 9 a.m. And the last few days, we've heard about South Africa. We've heard about a cabinet reshuffle and a number of cabinet ministers under pressure at this point in time. They have come under the radar. They have come under close scrutiny. And one of them has been the health minister, Minister Zweli Mkhize. Now, this comes against the background of his association with Digital Vibes, and we have now learned about 1 million rand from the deal allegedly bankrolling the hair salon and nail boutique services for Minister Zweli Mkhize's son and his daughter-in-law. We joined on the line by the founder of the Collab Movement and Politricks SA, Ramokgopa. Jimmy, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, now obviously, Jimmy, these revelations are a cause for concern, particularly when it involves people in high positions, and particularly in this case here, Minister Zweli Mkhize, 1 million rand allegedly bankrolled for a hair salon for his son and daughter-in-law. So there is a lot of pressure at this point in time. With these revelations starting to surface.
No, absolutely, and the pressure is warranted. Not only because of the 1 million rand, which was mentioned, but also because other amounts of money amounting to over 3 million rand, which was mentioned in the SIU report. Now, this also ties into the fact that about 150 million rand has been used as a means of channeling money towards family members and in some way towards Dr. Zweli Mkhize himself. But the defining moment and the point of pressure in this particular issue is that all of this is happening during a global pandemic by a sitting, or rather by a former sitting Minister of Health. And that in particular highlights the intensity and the seriousness of this matter, and also highlights the need for the president to act more swiftly.
Yes, I think you mentioned swiftly because the urgency of the matter determines this, and against the background of the pandemic and the health minister playing a very pivotal role as far as managing this pandemic goes. So that is the reason why the urgency is absolutely necessary. And we know right now, as we speak, Zweli Mkhize is on special leave, but one needs to be a lot more decisive in a situation like this, Jimmy.
Absolutely, particularly because South Africa, as it stands right now, is opting for stricter lockdowns because of the inability of the healthcare system to accommodate a high number of people finding themselves in ICU or in hospitals. So this has a long-lasting effect, not only on the budget itself, of the health department budget itself, but it also has a direct impact on livelihoods of people. And I'm actually quite surprised that the president took so long to actually start thinking about taking a decisive decision, considering the fact that he has had the SIU report for quite some time now.
Well, certainly, and I think this is one of the big problems that we are faced with in South Africa is, we seem to be dragging our heels when revelations like these surface. And this is where the public, and when one looks at the people of South Africa, have got major concerns, because we see these things dragging, and over a period of time, a lot is basically lost in the process. And this, in the interest of justice in the country, no matter who you are, no matter what position you hold in the country or in society, this seems to be a major problem.
No, absolutely. The idea of what we are seeing now, that people are realizing that the new dawn is actually a smokescreen. A lot of the things that have been happening in the ANC before Ramaphosa are simply continuing. The only difference now is that they are more factional, and the perception of swift decisiveness are only applied to some people who are of a particular section. Like, for example, if we look at the former spokesperson of the presidency, nothing has happened to her since then. Of course, we know that the prime suspect has unfortunately passed away. However, nothing much has happened in terms of that. The story seems to be dying off, and we are not seeing a lot of action in terms of pursuing criminal charges to those who might have not been directly involved. And so it paints a lot of questions, and it raises a lot of questions about the seriousness and the effectiveness of the so-called New Dawn.
And also, Jimmy, I think where there's smoke, there's fire, because this 1 million rand revelation is just one aspect. And as you mentioned, that there could be a lot more, or at least we're starting to see reports of a lot more monies that have been diverted, through the Department of Health as well. And this definitely is an area that the president himself, but also those that are seeking justice at the end of the day, for this type of behavior, but also looking at a company like Digital Vibes. We know that they were very, very closely associated with the Minister of Health. So there again, it's not only about the Minister of Health, but those that have been closely associated with him.
Absolutely. So it's also about the people who are associated, but also they need to go down to the actual procurement offices and actually look at the different levels of the enablers of corruption, because it's quite easy for people at the top to simply say that as ministers, as people in their positions, they do not have any control over procurement. They do not make any decisions about the type of companies that are enrolled within the system, and therefore they can't be held accountable for corruption. This is a common a thread of excuse that's seen across all ministers and across any other high-profile politician who's caught in the cookie jar. So I think what needs to happen is that a new strategy needs to be put in place where the actual people who are involved in the actual clicking of the buttons that approve certain contracts are actually investigated and interrogated to a much more serious degree.
The thing is, Jimmy, revelation after revelation is coming out, and this is becoming like a bottomless pit. And the question is, when and how are we going to end all of this?
Well, look, I know civil society plays a critical role, but in my own opinion, I think that if we sort of like dissect the different strata of corruption, because corruption doesn't just happen on a minister level. At the end of the day, it's not the minister who approves a budget. The investigations need to go to the public officials, and the media somehow needs to also pay attention to more attention to the public officials, the enablers of corruption, the people who do not comply with the financial act that is put in accordance to government procurement. And I think that we need a holistic approach, because politicians have found a way to sort of like duck and dive and make excuses for whatever corruption that's out.
Yes, I think, with the corruption being so, becoming like a pandemic in the country, perhaps I think even just the justice system needs to start rethinking its strategy in terms of holding those to book. And I know there have been one or two suggestions, and I just read about it the other day, Jimmy, where somebody said that South Africa needs a special corruption court.
Yeah, look, a special corruption court also could work in terms of speeding up the trial dates and speeding up so that is also a good suggestion. I would agree with that. But what I think is that what we are also missing as society, not just in government, but in any other, even in white collar corruption, is we are missing out on the actual enablers of corruptions, which are not necessarily the people who are at the helm of the organization or the various departments.
Well, Jimmy, we're going to have to leave it at that. As always, we do appreciate your time with us here on Salam Media, for coming on and talking to us and providing the analysis and the updates that we require on news and views. But for now, we wish you all the best. We wish you safety as well. And please take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Jimmy Ramokgopa joining us this morning, the founder of the Collab Movement and Politricks SA, against the background of Health Minister Zweli Mkhize. This brings us straight on to 9 a.m. We are heading for the news at the Al-Ansar newsroom. Tabile Duma is standing by.
Are you looking to be inspired, uplifted, and empowered? The Mid-Morning Talk Show with Nafisa Dango is here to showcase positive inspiration that will entice you